great.
The
So
lighting,
hey,
the
before we
lighting is not too good. Your eyes. If you have any front lighting you could put in, it would help.
it would help.
I'm a photographer.
Ooh, oh, here, how's this? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so before we get started for the three of us, we expected a much larger crowd. I guess there was differences in
And the rain.
the rain and the advertisements and all that. So anyway, let's get started for the camera. Here we go. For those of you who have cell phones, if you could please either turn them off or silence them for the workshop, that'd be really appreciated. Secondly, I'm sure that we'll all have questions. I have provided and we'll go over my most frequently asked questions. I'm sure we're going to be able to unravel this mystery called weight loss, or what I call optimization. So if you could just hold all questions till the very end, I'm sure we'll be able to do that. Is that fair enough?
Yep.
Okay, so getting started with science-based weight loss, I'm Dr. Brian Prax, and I would like to cover, first and foremost, why is a chiropractor doing a workshop on weight loss? That's what we'll be covering. Let's first talk about who I am and what all these letters are after my name, because I'm glad that you asked that. And let's see if we can get our technology department to work. This was tested earlier. There we go. Why is a chiropractor doing a weight loss workshop? So my credentials. I am a DC, in case you haven't figured it out already, I'm a doctor of chiropractic. Board certified in integrative medicine. And Kim, what that means, is it Kim?
Yes.
With 2 M's. What that means, and Ruth, if you all could just pull out the blank sheet of paper on there, I want you to write things down. What we found out with research, we've known this for a long, long time. If you hear it, if you speak it, if you write it, the more ways you can talk about it and get it in, it'll go into your brain a lot better. So get out a blank sheet of paper, let's put it on the top, let's get to work. Board certified in integrative medicine. What that means, and this is critically important, is that we will need to work together with your medical practitioner. Because should you decide to do this program, more than weight loss is going to occur. What will happen is a lot of other side effects, good side effects, like lowered blood pressure, lower cholesterol. And if you're on those medications, and those are lowering, your doctor's going to need to know about that in order to make adjustments to your medications. Otherwise, it could be a bad thing. Diplomate from the American Academy of Integrative Medicine. And the one that I'm most proud about is that I'm certified by the American Functional Neurology Institute. So I am a functional neurologist. I work with neurology. And we're going to learn right here that it's more than just fat around our midline. It's more than that. It's more than what you're eating. But it also has to do with the nervous system. So we're going to cover that as well. So I started out with my functional neurology doing what we call brain-based therapy. We take care of people who come in with conditions like peripheral neuropathy. By show of hands, who knows what peripheral neuropathy is?
I think so.
Okay? Tingling, numbness, burning, achy, I can't feel my feet or my hands. Examples of that are carpal tunnel syndrome, sciatica. Those are some of the biggest examples of that. So you may have seen my ads out there for peripheral neuropathy. The point of that is, if you have neuropathy, you know it, and then you'll say, oh yeah, I want to learn more about that. Okay, so if you don't know it, good. Let's keep it that way. All right? So we take care of people with these sort of conditions, generally older folks, not all the time, but they walk in, they tell me they can't even feel their feet. They can't, the tingling is so bad, the pain is so bad that they can't even notice what's going on. And as a result of that, they often have another thing called dizziness, which actually isn't up there. But we have a program for dizziness, and we have a program for balance and vertigo issues too, oftentimes related to peripheral neuropathy. I want to share that this next one is FM, is fibromyalgia, another terrible condition. I'm going to link all of this together because there's a common thread with all of this. Well, we have very good success rate with fibromyalgia, actually helping bodies to reverse this terrible condition called fibromyalgia. Migraine headaches is another one, other headaches, chronic back and neck pain. We've taken care of people with diabetes, mellitus type 1 and type 2. I've had patients with muscular dystrophy and MS. And we've seen all of these people get better, much better. But what we don't do is just treat their symptoms. On any one of these, including weight loss, these are all symptoms, okay? Or weight gain. These are all symptoms, and instead of just treating the symptom, we need to go deeper. And I learned really early on in my functional neurology that it's not just about the nervous system. Because there's things that are affecting the nervous system, okay? Things that you eat, and I said I'd give you a little bonus. This is an interesting bonus. On sleeplessness, okay? It's a big thing out there, okay? I'm doing a blog on this, but with sleeping. 95% of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter used in the brain to help us relax, to help us feel good. It's the feely-good one, but it also helps us to sleep. 95% of that is made in the gut. Yes, that's a key thing, okay? So 95% of your serotonin is made in the gut, but it's used in the brain, and we always thought that serotonin was made in the brain and used in the brain. If you're having low levels of serotonin, you're going to have a really hard time sleeping. So I said it's made in the gut. So if we've got some gut issues, the gut's not working well, I'm not just talking about the fat, I'm talking about the large intestine, small intestine, liver, we're talking gallbladder, we're talking about all that. If this isn't working well, you're having extra fat, but at the same time, you're probably not producing serotonin, which is not allowing you to sleep as deep as you could or sleep at all. Which when we sleep, that's when we do body maintenance things like fat management and metabolism management. So see, it's all connected. So that was a little bonus. I want to make sure I got it right up front. Okay? We're going to tie all of that together because sleeping has to do with weight loss. Nervous system integrity has to do with weight loss. How well your organs are working in here has to do with weight loss. The hormone, the endocrine system has to do with weight loss. It's all part of what we call a web of physiological dysfunction. But I learned early on in taking care of folks with these different conditions, most of them had some gut, some liver, some hormones, some balance, metabolism problems, and that if I didn't take care of those, then we weren't going to help their bodies to reverse these. So here's what I did. We started putting these people on the exact same program, eating metabolic program that we're going to be sharing with you today. Okay? So what we started finding is that one major and consistent side effect for almost all of these folks was weight loss. A side effect. I wasn't going for the effect of neuropathy and they're 30, 50 pounds overweight. I wasn't saying we got to get you to lose weight. I was saying, look, we need to feed you good. We need to get your liver, your gut, your digestive, your metabolism working well so that that system will have a positive effect on the nervous system like the brain and the peripheral nerves. And every time, if they needed to, they would lose weight. So I started realizing, wow, we have something here, right? So there's a big need out there for weight optimization. If you saw my ad, you would have seen Alex in there, and that has the before, and she has the, I think it's like this. She has the after picture, or something like that, okay? Alex has lost almost 70 pounds to this date. 70 pounds all in last year, okay? So she went ahead and did my weight loss program, and she's very successful at it. She's my assistant, and I'm going to share with you exactly how she did that. Now, Flame, on the other hand, only needed to lose about 20 pounds, and she was very healthy to start, but just couldn't get rid of the spare tire. Okay? And I do have permission for them to talk about that. Flame had lost 20 to 25 pounds as well. And Terry didn't join the program, took a concept, an idea, and we'll talk about that later, and said, I'm going to go with that, I'm going to try that. Made 2 subtle changes, yet significant changes in her eating, and dropped 25 pounds in about 2 months. And reversed her fibromyalgia. Want to know how much she paid me for that? Nothing. So I bet you'd want to know about that. Well, if that's what your problem is, then you might be like Terry and lose 20 to 25 pounds and it could just drop off. Okay? That's what we're going to discover. We're going to figure out your web of physiological dysfunction. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through these slides pretty quickly because we all know this. What these next 4 slides show is that America has a problem with obesity. Nothing new. 1985, the white ones right here, those are states we didn't even take data on. The gray, 10% of the population had a BMI of 30 or higher, meaning obese. Those are the states. These states had 10% of the population with obese, 10% of the population were obese. Blue, those states 10 to 14%, 1985. Remember that year, 1985. It's going to make sense in 5 slides from now. Fast forward, 1997. We have a lot more colors, a lot more states. We're now calculating and we're figuring out BMI for all the states. Okay, so we've added a color. We got dark blue, 15 to 19%. Those dark blue states right there, 15 to 19% of their population obese. But we added another color, this pea green. Okay, the pea green right there has 20%. 1 out of 5 people in those populations were obese in 97. Fast forward, 2001. Wow, we had to add another color, and this pea green is really taking over the whole nation. The other color is the state of Mississippi. Mississippi is our poorest state in the nation. It's also our fattest state in the nation. And they're up to 25%. 1 out of 4 people. 1 out of 4 people in that state is obese. But let's look at Virginia. Let's look at some of the other states. We're at 1 out of 5 in this state here. That was 2001. That's old stats. So we move on up to 2009. We have another color that we added. The 30% color. And that's Mississippi and a whole bunch of the southern belt right there. But fast forward to 2013, the most recent stats we have, Mississippi and a few others now top at 34%. Okay? 34% of that state and these states right here are obese. This is not overweight, this is obese. Okay? So what this is saying here is that we have a problem. I think that's probably not surprising anybody, but it's a big problem. I want to take my time and read through these. Now, a third, 1 in 3, of American adults are overweight. And another third are obese. Almost 70% of U.S. adults are either overweight or obese. It's a contributing factor in 5 of the top 10 factors of death: heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, and kidney disease. So if you're thinking, wow, I just really want to look better in the mirror, I just want to feel better about myself, that's big. That's really important. I like to feel good about myself when I look in the mirror as well. It's an important factor. But it's also a major important factor in our death rate in the United States. Now, losing as little as 5 to 7% of a person's total weight lowers blood pressure. That's why we have to work with your doctor. If you are on blood pressure medication and you drop 25 pounds in 2 months, or 4 months, or whatever safely happens for you, and you're on blood pressure, you might need to work with your doctor to get that adjusted. It could be bad because you could now have low blood pressure and have dizziness and fall. 5 to 7% losing that much weight, not a lot, improves blood sugar levels, lowers diabetes by nearly 60% with people with pre-diabetes. Okay? Ever heard of this new term called diabesity? Diabesity. Diabetes related to obesity. Obesity related to diabetes. If you're overweight or diabetic, or pre-diabetic, you can bet you're heading in the diabetic direction. This is major important. And I want to quote this book right here, you guys. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm a leader in weight loss, but that's because I'm a reader. They say leaders are readers. I read this guy's book. Have you ever heard this one? No. Wheat Belly. Get the book. It's a good book. Dr. Davis is an MD, a cardiologist, a heart specialist. And I just want to read to you on the back side. See these 2 things? 2 slices of whole wheat bread, the good stuff, right? Supposed to be good, heart healthy bread, whole wheat, not even Wonder Bread. Okay? Dr. Davis, did you know that eating 2 slices of whole wheat bread can increase blood sugar more than 2 tablespoons of pure cane sugar? Did you catch that? What we want you to learn today, and I want you to write this down. I want you to write this down. It's not what you are eating that's causing your problem. It's what your body is doing with what you're eating. See, these 2 slices of bread right here, 100% carbohydrate. There is no fat. unless you put butter on it, but literally in the piece of bread, there's no fat in the bread. But interestingly enough, we have to go beyond just what you are eating, because we have to factor that brain into it and the metabolism. Because the brain says this: I just ate 2 slices of bread for breakfast. Let's say that, okay? 2 slices of bread for breakfast. What happens, these carbohydrates go into the gut faster than sugar breaks it into glucose for good usage, okay? For metabolism, for doing things like walking and running around and doing all the things that we Americans do. What happens is all of this glucose, all this sugar gets dumped into our bloodstream. And with all of this sugar getting dumped into the bloodstream, the body's really finicky. It doesn't like to have too much blood sugar. That causes problems. On the other hand, it doesn't like to be hypoglycemic or too little blood sugar. It wants to be within this range. So there is a hormone, a smart system that will take sugar out of the blood. What's that hormone? Insulin. The job of insulin is important. It's an important hormone. The job of insulin is to take sugar out of the blood, to balance it out. This is key. This is key. In all of the body's efficiency, and it's amazingly, miraculously efficient, it's not going to take this sugar, which is used for energy, glucose, it's not going to take it and just dump it and throw it away. No way! We are designed, engineered for feast and famine. Okay? So it's thinking, whoa, feast, I'm going to store this for later usage because I might be famine tomorrow or next week. I want to have it stored. What does it do with that glucose? What does that insulin do? How does it store it? Hmm? Yeah, what's that called? It converts the sugar into fat. Whoa! You eat carbohydrates like this, and the body, in its incredible wisdom, says, I need to convert and save. It saves it as fat, triglycerides. Okay? This is just energy storage. Okay? So it's not what you eat, it's what your body does with what you eat. Okay? Also, on these starvation diets, I definitely want to take a moment to talk about that. Thinking in simple mathematics, one might think, and some of the programs still think, that if I take in this many calories and I expend this many calories, the difference will net out at a loss of weight. Makes sense, right?
You don't think it does?
Until you factor in this thing, the brain. Because the brain's running its own numbers too. And it's going, my goodness, I'm not having enough calories. Famine. I need to really save every little piece of energy because it is designed for survival. So what it's doing is taking these calories, say you're getting 600, 800, 1,000 calories a day, and it's going, holy moly, she's burning 2,000 calories a day, but we're only taking in 800, yikes. I need to slow my metabolism down. And just like a bear, you go into hibernation. It's brilliant. We're designed to survive. But dang it. Okay? So here's your 800 calories. Yeah, you can show through starvation on the scale that, all right, yeah, look at that, I'm losing weight. Yeah, you can lose weight on the starvation program. But as soon as you start eating, like a holiday or something comes up and you start eating more food with your lowered hibernation state metabolism, you're going to gain weight like that. So that's how we lose weight, and then we find it right back. Okay? That's the roller coaster. We need to get away from that. We need to think differently. We got to realize that we are smarter than just simple mathematics. We got to factor in this brain right here. It's a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. Okay? So we'll talk about that as well. A great book, I would recommend getting it. Well, since we're on books, I want to share another one with you as well. How many people have heard that I might have hypothyroidism? Could be I have hypothyroidism, and that is the hormone that regulates metabolism. And yes, if you have hypothyroidism, your metabolism is going to be slowed. Okay? It will be slowed. And when your metabolism is slowed and lowered, then things burn a lot slower. Okay? It's like shutting the damper down on the fireplace at nighttime. You'll burn the log, but way, way slower. So this is a great book here. Why do I still have thyroid symptoms when my lab tests are normal. And when I do my thyroid workshop, which my wife has let me know that there is a thyroid workshop coming up. I'll give you the date in just a moment. We cover what Dr. Karazian talks about in this book. It's another great book. So if you have, or you think you have a thyroid condition, get the book, or I can make it easier for you. Attend my workshop. Okay? Another great book. The point, though, is that we have to start figuring these things out. It's not just starve myself and I can make myself look better on the scale. Oh, I love what Dr. Davis says. I'm pretty sure it's chapter 1. Chapter 1, he says, America has an epidemic in obesity, comma, but it's not your fault. I thought, oh, because a lot of times it's like, it's your fault, you're eating too much, you're doing this, you're doing that, you have to watch your diet, watch what you eat and all that. And Dr. Davis says, it's not your fault. Watch this. The average size of a bagel doubled between 1983 and 2003. Remember that slide? It was 1985, okay, when we didn't have much obesity, got all those white ones on there. And then we got up to 2009. Well, look, the average size of a bagel, and really it goes for almost all American food. We've supersized us, okay? Our cars have gotten bigger. Now they're kind of getting smaller, but the bagel itself has gone from a 3-inch diameter and containing 104 calories to a 6-inch diameter with 350 calories of pure carbohydrate, which turns into glucose, which the body converts into fat. Okay? So it's not all your fault. So we have to accept responsibility. But now that you have information, now you kind of know things. So we're helping you to move to the next step. So to reiterate, the rate of obese adults has doubled since 1980, and the rate of obese children has tripled. So it's across the whole platform of Americans, young, old, and in between. In 2008, this is another important one. 2008, the medical cost, just the medical cost alone, for people who are obese, $1,400 higher than those with normal weight. So why is this happening? Because we are unhealthy. We're unhealthy, okay? And the reason we're unhealthy, which I'm going to share with you, is what we're eating, how much we're eating, how often we're eating, and the type of foods that we're eating. What we're going to talk about in my program is all about eating like we were designed to eat, okay? Because we all should be able to naturally regulate our metabolism. If your dog or horse or cat or fish or whatever is experiencing less than optimal health, is sick, first thing the vet asks, oh, what are you feeding her? I love it, beautiful. Oh, what are you feeding her? Oh, okay, well with that we need to get more protein or this, that, or the other, whatever. Here, I want you to try this bag of food. Yet, with humans, we go to our human doctor and you're sick or obese or whatever the case is. Does the doctor ever ask, well, what are you eating? No. What are your symptoms? Here we go.
Prescription.
Yeah.
Prescription.
Prescription. Prescription to treat the symptoms. That's why we're unhealthy, okay? All that they're doing, for the most part, is treating symptoms. And yes, even insulin for diabetics is treating the symptom. We should have looked at that a long time ago, okay? So we don't want to get into the diabetes stage because that really does some serious damage. So we're different. Obviously, one of the things that I said is, I am not going to treat your symptom. And that sounds great. I share the same exact thing with neuropathy people that are coming in, they're walking with like blocks of concrete on their feet, they can't feel and they're having dizzy problems and all that. And I say, I'm not going to treat your peripheral neuropathy. And they go, what? And I'm not going to treat your overweightness either. What I do treat, though, are humans. And humans, like horses and cows and other animals and even plants, have certain needs. We figured out what those needs are. And if we can help put your body into a healing environment, side effects like weight loss will happen. So I don't treat the symptom. Let's go after the cause. So your problem is that you have this web of physiological dysfunction. And that's what we're going to talk about. This web of physiological dysfunction can be complex and different for every one of you. In the middle of your blank sheet of paper, I'd like you to write weight. W-E-I-G-H-T. Weight. Okay? That right there is representing the center of your web of physiological dysfunction. Okay? You might want to flip your paper around because we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. And in case you all were wondering, or for those of you who are watching, why did I fill out this metabolic assessment form? I'm going to unravel that. There is a reason, and I do look at that. So, we talked about this already. In your web of physiological dysfunction, if we're going to figure out this weight optimization, I like that better than weight loss, okay? And we don't talk diet, we talk about eating program, okay? Then one of the things we have to at least look at is the obvious, is food. So let's over here, let's put food. There is a very good chance that you're eating the wrong foods. Very good chance. Why can I say that? Well, because an American staple is wheat. It's interesting, and I'm going to not get on my soapbox for too long, but it's interesting that farmers are paid to overproduce wheat. We have this glutton of wheat. We have so much wheat out there, okay? And they've also changed it genetically, so the wheat has been changed on a DNA level. So now we're having this whole gluten thing and gluten-free, and I'm telling you guys, it's not a fad. It literally, and he talks about it in the book as well, the DNA structure in wheat has changed. It's not the same wheat that nature originally produced, okay? I teach my patients, I'm like, look, if it's something that nature produced, that is good, in moderation. And if it's something that man or woman or science produced, that is not good. So that's a simple general rule. But it probably has at least something to do with the foods that you're eating, and not eating. Also, I want to talk about food sensitivity. And for now, we're going to bring up Terry. So Terry is a nurse. That's the one I told you about before. Terry's the one that dropped 25 pounds and reversed her fibromyalgia by making 2 changes, really 1 change. I suggested, she was in the room, sat in the workshop, decided not to do the program for whatever reason, but she's a chiropractic patient. She's frustrated, and I'm not losing weight, my fibromyalgia's killing me, and this, that, and the other. And I had worked with her for a long time. Do the program, do the program, do the program. And she says, well, blah, blah, blah. She's not going to do it. I said, almost one of those frustrated doctor-patient things. I'm like, look, Terry, why don't you just try going gluten-free and dairy-free for a month and see what happens? You know, I need to move on and work on people who are ready to be helped. Not to be rude, but I've been working with her for a long time. She wasn't changing at all. A month later, she's 10 pounds lighter and telling me for her chiropractic checkup, I feel fine, I'm almost pain-free. I said, really, what have you changed? She goes, well, I followed your recommendations. And honestly, I said, what recommendation? Which exact ones were you talking about? I didn't, because it was just one of those, get out of here, try this. She actually followed my recommendation. She said, well, I went gluten-free and dairy-free. I mean, I went like this, not because I was surprised that that would get her to achieving her goal, but that she actually followed my recommendation. She ended up staying gluten-free and dairy-free for 2 months, because the following month, I saw her again, and that's when she was like 22 pounds down, and I said, my goodness, you're still gluten-free, dairy-free, aren't you? She goes, yeah. I said, wow, I think you might, what have we learned from this? She goes, I'll tell you what, last weekend I was at a party, and I've been feeling so good, but I thought, you know what, I'm probably good. I can. What's a little slice of cake going to do? A little slice of cake. So gluten from the wheat of the cake, and dairy from the frosting in the top and all that, okay? She had it. She goes, instantly my bloating occurred here. Almost 20 minutes later, diarrhea. Things were just totally messed up. My skin started itching, and I felt my fibro symptoms coming back. A small slice of cake. Now, do you have a gluten sensitivity? Does Ruth have a dairy sensitivity? I'm not saying that. I have no idea. But Terry did. And that's what I'm saying on this one thing, is that if we figure out that you do have a food sensitivity, and we figure that out, it's going to solve it like Terry. So Terry now knows, Without doing any testing or anything, she now knows based on, when I eat that, I feel bad, my fibromyalgia starts coming back. I don't eat that, I feel good, I'm trim. Do you have a food sensitivity? I don't know. We would need to test that, okay? But that's food on this web of physiological dysfunction. The next one we want to talk about is hormones. So if we're going to figure out and unravel this web of physiological dysfunction, remember, it's not just food, it also might have to do with hormones. So, one of the top ones here is thyroid. If your thyroid gland, which has to do with a whole bunch of different things, like I said, this guy's book is amazing. I mean, look at this research. It's unbelievable. I'm still going. Okay, here. This is the book, right? That's all on the thyroid and all the other organs that connect to that. This part is his referenced research. I mean, I didn't read through all that. I just saw, dang, this guy has really got his research together, okay? But if, let me just suffice the 250 pages or whatever it is to say this. If you've got a thyroid problem, there's no way you're going to have optimal weight management. So if you're hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, or Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroid, there's a whole bunch of different things you could be, then if that doesn't get solved, just like that, if that doesn't get figured out, we can make you look good on the scale for 10 days, 20 days, 3 months, 6 months, you might look good, but it's just going to come right back. And that's what we don't want, right? We want to solve this thing. We want to take this web and we want to get rid of that web. We want to improve the function. So hormones, there's a lot more hormones too, because the adrenal gland produces cortisol or adrenaline. That's our wake up one, give us energy hormone. Also, when adrenaline is high, your melatonin is low, so that's back to the sleep one. So if your hormones are way off balance, you got too much adrenaline when you should be having a little bit higher melatonin, which allows you to sleep better. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to lose weight as well. So on that web of physiological dysfunction, we got to look at food, we got to look at hormones. Hormones have to do with sleeping. We also have to look at sleep patterns. Our liver is really kicking into its highest gear from about 12 midnight to about 2 a.m. And I have a lot of people who are overweight who also have sleep issues or have bad sleep hygiene, and they're telling me typical time getting to bed, 12, 1, 1:30, 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got to change that. You got to sleep like humans need to sleep. Okay? So we've got to start thinking about some of these lifestyle things. You start changing how and when you sleep and get good proper sleep at the right time, then that's going to help with your weight loss as well. Okay? It's all connected. So sleeping is controlled by hormones. It's also controlled by stress levels, which is the adrenaline. And sleeping can have to do with food regulation, food eating. And you will meet my assistant, Landon. You'll see he's slimmer, much slimmer than I am. Some would say he's skinny. He's on this same program that I'm going to share with you called my Metabolic Repair Program. Metabolic Repair Program. If we can repair the metabolism, the weight will optimize. Landon does not need to lose a pound. If anything, he's been looking to gain a pound. He has some food sensitivities, and I do have permission to talk about them. He also has some hormonal issues that we're figuring out through this program. And I come to find out he's one of those 12:30, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and sleep in as long as I can, get up, all tired, take some coffee, and get on to work. Through the program, I haven't even got to the sleeping part of it. He says, I'm now getting to sleep at 10:30. Not because I even said it, suggested it, get to bed early. It's just his natural rhythms are starting to take over. That's when he's going to sleep. All these things in the Metabolic Repair Program will happen. On that metabolic assessment form, you don't need to pull it out, but on that metabolic assessment form, it has a lot of questions, and you were probably wondering, what is this? Asking about how much I'm pooping and diarrhea and constipation. What does that have to do with anything? Your gut. So remember I said earlier, when I say gut, I mean like the liver, the gallbladder, because the liver makes so many things. Large intestine, small intestine, stomach. The gut. If your gut isn't working right, on the one end, you're not absorbing the proper foods. And if it's not working right, you're not absorbing the right foods, then you're still going to get triggers from your gut to the brain saying, or the brain saying, I'm still hungry, still not getting X, Y, Z. Give me some more food, hungry. Here we have so many Americans who are overweight, and at the same time, we're overeating. How in the world could that be? We're overnourished, not malnourished, we're overnourished, and yet overweight. We're getting plenty of food in, but we're not getting the right amount, and or the gut's not working enough to bring it in. And remember that the gut has to do with sleeping? Isn't that weird? The gut's what produces 95% serotonin, which is what's going to help you to sleep. But interestingly enough, it doesn't stop there, because the gut also is where your conversion of thyroid hormone takes place. Weird. 94% of thyroid T4 is produced here. T4 is inactive. It can't be used. It has to be converted into a usable form called T3. You know, guess where that happens? In the liver. Yeah. So it's all this crazy web that's just mishmashed and all over the place. If you've got gut problems, you're going to have thyroid problems. You're not converting your thyroid hormone. If you've got thyroid problems, you're going to have weight problems. It's a vicious loop. If you've got gut problems, you're probably not sleeping very well. If you're not sleeping very well, your liver's not having a chance, and the liver is what produces serotonin. It's this vicious loop. Okay? So let's add another one. We talked about adrenaline, we talked about gut, and I just lumped a bunch of things up there with the gut as well. The first thing that we talked about, I'm a certified in functional neurology. So remember I said it's not just the simple math, eat this much, expend this much energy, and you're going to lose a bunch. We got your nervous system calculating, running numbers all the time. If your nervous system isn't working well, and underneath here we can put hypothalamus, that's what, this one right here, this is what maintains and runs your metabolism. And the way it does that, it does it through this organ called the pituitary gland. Pituitary. The pituitary gland sits right behind your third eye right here. It's the master gland. It's what releases things, which is told by the brain. Pituitary is told by the brain, release some growth hormone. That's what builds the lean muscle mass, which burns fat. Pituitary gland releases thyroid releasing hormone, which is what tells the thyroid, hey, release me some thyroid, we don't have enough. It releases estrogen, testosterone. It tells all the other body parts what to do. Its brain is controlling the hormone system. If your brain is off, if your nervous system isn't functioning properly, that's another factor we have to look at. On that metabolic assessment form, there are many other categories that we're going to talk about, but I think you get the idea. It's a mess. It's a complex issue. It's not simple math that we have to run. It's a complexity. Now, everybody in this room has a different web. Okay, so does Ruth? Maybe you have some gut issues, a sleeping problem, and a food sensitivity. And I can't read your name, Elizabeth. Okay. Maybe you have none of those, but you've got some thyroid problems, and I'm not putting you on the spot. It's just the point is that every one of you are different, and it's not a cookie-cutter approach. And so, by the way, when we go over our frequently asked questions, people always want to ask very individualized questions, and we can do that in a one-to-one setting, but I don't know what your web is. I'm not up here saying that I got you all figured out. That's the point of the thing, in that it takes such time and courage to figure that web of physiological dysfunction out. So now you're wondering, okay, hopefully it's starting to make some sense. What is this metabolic repair program? Phase 1. It comes in two phases. The weight loss portion comes in 2 phases. Phase 1. 2 months of sensible eating. And no, there are no prepackaged foods, there's nothing that I'm going to sell you in special bars and things like that. This is stuff that you'll be able to get. I want to teach you how to get the right stuff. You should be able to get it. We get stuff at Food Lion. Some of my favorite places are Trader Joe's. Love that place. Whole Foods. The more we can eat human food, the better we're going to do. That makes sense, right? So we're going to teach you that. So 2 months of sensible eating. I want to be very upfront with you. Lifestyle changes will be necessary. If you were coming for a quick fix, and I said it in the ad, if you're coming for a quick fix, give me the pill, I want to do something easy, I don't want to make any changes, I just want to lose 25 pounds, this is not the program for you. You need to think about it. We've got to make lifestyle changes. I can show you how. I actually upped this to 8 in-office visits. They include weigh-ins, measurements, motivation. If we're going to ask you to make some lifestyle changes, some of us have been eating the same old way our whole entire life. You're going to need a motivational speaker, you're going to need a hand holder, you're going to need a coach. We're all of that, okay? We also offer unlimited phone and email support. It's a doctor-supervised system. You literally come in. It's not all about the weigh-ins, it's mostly about how you're doing with the sensible eating portion. Oh, I should put it up there as well. You will not be counting calories. There's no point system, there's none of that. As long as you're eating the right food, often enough, at the right time, and you're never hungry. That's another good point. You should write that down. Never hungry on this system. And why is that important? Because we want to start telling the brain, hey, it's okay, you're not in famine. The idea is to increase the speed of the metabolism. That's what we're going to do. You should never be hungry in this program. Never hungry in this program. So supplements are included with this program to repair your gut and digestion, including the liver. Blood sugar regulation, think pre-diabetes, diabetes, hypoglycemia, and the endocrine system, thyroid, adrenal glands, sex hormones. All of these supplements help to repair, as we said, the metabolic repair program. All of these, together with the eating program, will help repair your metabolism. Now, I'm going to shift gears, because this part right here, let's talk about it for a second, because everybody focuses on those little words there. Phase 1, there's 2 different phases. Some folks will need to come in, and if we see a metabolic assessment form that's all over the place and looking like there's a lot of unhealthy things going on, you guys, most people will need to go through phase 1 and get yourself healthy. Usually 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months, usually, and that's just getting yourself healthy. For those who get done at that point, and so I've seen 30, okay? Alex, who did it, was down 24 pounds in 2 months. 24 pounds, 2 months. That's sensible eating and definitely getting healthier. But she has a goal of almost 100 pounds. She's down 70. So what do we do if we haven't achieved our goal? We've gotten healthier, we're sleeping better, our blood sugar is much better, the blood pressure is lower, cholesterol is lower, we see all those things, but what if you haven't achieved your goal at that point? Then, you guys, we shifted into hardcore speed metabolism, intense, phase 2. So phase 2 is what I add for my weight loss program. This is 6 weeks, 3 in-office visits, unlimited phone, email, all that. It's homeopathic. This is to be done on a healthy system. You cannot just drop into the system if you're not healthy. It's a 6-week intense program. It resets your metabolism. This is after you've gotten healthy. This is calorie counting, just to be as clear as I can. Phase 1, no calorie counting. Phase 2, yeah, 800 calories a day. Here's what happens. We're going to eat good protein and good carbohydrates only. We're going to do no fats, no oils, no sugars, no bad carbs are allowed. This is majorly intense. Some people need to go here, some people don't, okay? But I'll tell you, I will help you to lose weight, okay? If we don't get it we don't get your goal in phase 1, we may just continue eating it the way you're eating at phase 1. If not, we go to phase 2. Here's how this system works on phase 2. Day 1 and day 2 is loading phase. Elizabeth, what we do on that one is you eat 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day for day 1 and day 2. It's sickening amount. It's like 2 Thanksgiving dinners per day. Okay, you're eating anything and everything. We're trying to clear your pantries and your refrigerator, and we're trying to speed your metabolism. We're getting it up to an unusually high speed. Metabolism's cranking because it's getting all these calories. It's like, what am I going to do with this? Get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Burning these calories. Okay? And then we're taking the homeopathic drops, which keeps that metabolism really high up there. Then we sweep out the calories and we trick it. We go down to 800 calories with no fat. So what the body does with its high metabolism, it's looking for fuel. It starts to convert this triglycerides, these fat, back into sugars. And that you can lose anywhere from 1/2 to 1.5 pounds a day. Yeah. You will be blowing away your neighbors and your friend if you get to that stage right there. That's intense. So, frequently asked questions. Since doing these workshops all of last year and beyond, I've figured out the most commonly asked questions, and I'm just going to talk about it right now. After I'm done with this, after I'm done with the workshop, please don't ask me, well, what about me? I have this, my doctor said that, and this, that, and the other. I don't know specifically about you. I'm not exactly sure. But let's see if we can answer these questions. So how much is the program? Let's talk about other programs. So first, Jenny Craig. And this is pound for pound, apple for apple, apple to apple sort of comparison. Jenny Craig, about 5 months, which is about how long both of my programs go. Actually, mine's a little shorter than that. $32.60. Currently, Nutrisystem, and that includes all the supplements and everything, just like mine, $2,400. Has anybody ever done any of these programs? This is what these top 2 ones are doing. Weight Watchers, their most basic program, they have different levels, but their most basic program is $1,720. And this is all for about losing 20 pounds. We should at least get 20 pounds on ours. So the Metabolic Repair Program, phase 1, and phase 2, the Accelerate program, combined, the total cost for us is $1,495, 3.5 months. But what I want you to get with this is what's different than with our program compared to Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, is that you're going to end up healthier, a lot healthier. And what we almost always find, and I have returning patients who've done this program years ago, is you will maintain that, okay? See people taking notes, that's good, that's how we get it down, okay? So with the Metabolic Repair Program, recall that we will need to work carefully with your doctor. You will most certainly need to make some medication adjustments if you are taking those. Next frequently asked question, phase 1 is $11.95 if you end up doing it all by yourself. Just phase 1, if you just do phase 2, and some people can skip ahead to phase 2. They don't need phase 1, it's $475. Total is $1,670. And if we end up doing them combined, that's how I get the $1,495 from the other page. So I wanted to let you know that some people just need to do phase 1. That's all they want to do. 20 pounds down, I'm much healthier, I'm happy, thank you. Some people can skip ahead to phase 2. That's all they need to do. That's going to be a lot less for you. Got it? Does my insurance pay? In short, no. Sorry. Insurance really is only paying for sick care. So if you let yourself get to the point where you have diabetes and you need drugs and insulin and all this stuff, they'll cover all that. But for your gym membership, for your shopping at Whole Foods, for other weight loss programs like Jenny Craig, etc., they do not pay for that. At this point, hopefully that's going to change, but not right now. Is exercise required? I think exercise is a human need. But for this program, it's actually not required. And all of the ads and all the things that I put in the paper, and everybody that we talked about today, Terry and Alex and Flame, did not change their exercise regimen at all. Okay? I think it's a good idea. I think it will speed the metabolism. So don't think I'm saying you don't do it, but it's not required. How long is the program? We said it's about 3.5 months. If you're like Alex and you have a goal of 100 pounds, it's going to take longer. She's at about a year. She's almost 70 pounds down. She's working very hard, so that varies. And what if I haven't met my weight goals? So let's say you've done the metabolic repair program, phase 1, and you're down 25 pounds. You're like, but I still want to lose more. We might either continue on that, and you could continue to lose, or we might shift into phase 2, the really intense accelerate program. If you're like Alex, she did the first, then she did the second phase, and she still wasn't there. She was down about 30 pounds. Let's see, 23. She was down about 40 pounds. So we then went ahead and did another accelerate, and she's just about ready now to do her third accelerate, the phase 2. So we can continue with that. And if you do the accelerate phase 2 program a second or a third time, then it's usually half price of what the 475 was, right? So 475 divided by 2. Prepackaged foods, no. Supplements, yes, are included. Everything is included. Is patient financing available? There was one other question I wanted to answer. Forgot to add that in there. Is patient financing available? Yes, it might be. If you qualify, you may be able to finance your health care. Okay, if it's done right and you do with your good credit, yeah, patient financing could help you out. What I wanted to do was add somewhere in here, FAQ, if you could write that down, remind me to add this frequently asked question, and that is, are there any hidden fees? No, they're not, but if we sit down on the initial evaluation and we figure out that you have a pretty severe or a thyroid problem, for example, then we may need to say, look, we need to get the thyroid dialed in. We're never going to lose weight until we get that thyroid figured out. So instead of doing the weight loss, let's have you consider and sit through the workshop, or let's talk about the thyroid program that we have. You will still lose weight, but I'm not going to say, okay, for you, we should do this or that or the other without first letting you know. This is what I would recommend. So if it's pretty straightforward, no. If there's other things, like you have complications like fibromyalgia or something like that that might be getting in your way, we'll discuss all of that. But there'll never be anything hidden.
What sort of supplements? Are there a lot of them, or are they pretty normal supplements?
Yeah, pretty normal supplements. Some of them are very specific. Some of them are very specific to the program that we have, and others, like vitamin D, for example, is a supplement. That's pretty normal, pretty common.
Any particular company that you use?
Yeah, that I'd like to answer on a one-to-one, because there is. You want me to give away the whole farm, right?
Yeah.
But on an individual basis, we can talk about that. So, action steps needed. If it's making sense, and it's something you'd like to do, normally I sit down with somebody for a half an hour, $150, and we can figure things out. For today, if you reserve an appointment time, a half an hour appointment time, and pay a holding fee, a reservation fee of $25, then that's action step 1. If you just no show, no call, there goes your reservation. You want to set another reservation, it's another $25, so it's non-refundable. If it's a weather thing or you need to change it, give me 24 hours notice, we can change it. Not strict like that, but
There's
it's
not
to
a
reserve
second
your time.
reservation fee.
What?
There's not a second reservation fee to reschedule it, right?
If there's no, it's not, if you no show, no call.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
yes.
A detailed consultation, that's where you and I and Alex will sit down, we'll do a detailed consultation where we're going to discuss your weight loss goals and customize the doable plan. Which of these options will you be doing? 15 to 30 minutes, we usually will book out for 30 minutes. Some people are coming in like, I'm ready to go, and they're just like, what do I need to do? And that's 15 minutes. It's not that long. I think I answered everything in